You didn't arrive here by chance tonight. You're here because something inside you is crying out for peace, not just rest for your body, but silence for your mind. The ancient sages knew this path. They discovered the art of remaining serene even as everything around them crumbles. The Stoics called this inner strength, the capacity to keep the soul calm while the world outside falls apart. In the next few minutes, you will hear words that have crossed centuries. They were written by men who knew war, loss, and solitude, and yet found light in the midst of the journey. Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius. They didn't speak of theory, they spoke of the soul's survival. You don't need to understand it all or strain to remember every phrase. Just listen. Let each word cleanse your mind, like rain washing the dust from the world. This video is more than content. It is a refuge, a truce between you and the noise, a space to release the weight of the day and remember that even in darkness, wisdom waits to be found. Each lesson you will hear from now on is a return to the essential, a reconnection with what the soul always knew, but the world made you forget. Now breathe. Feel the air return. Feel your body relax. Feel silence arrive. Because the first truth is one of the most liberating and perhaps the hardest to accept. Lesson 1. It's impossible for everyone to like you. You can strive, smile more than you truly feel, mold your words to please, and still, someone will criticize you. Accept it. Because trying to be loved by everyone is like trying to catch the wind. The harder you grasp, the more it slips away. This is a truth you've heard many times, but perhaps you've never truly let it in. How many times have you heard it, and yet still explained yourself, adjusted yourself, shrunk yourself, just to be accepted? We don't face criticism only on social media. We face it everywhere, at work, in family, among friends. There will always be someone offering opinions about your life, without knowing even half your story. And yet, deep inside us, there's an ancient voice, inherited from thousands of years of human coexistence, pleading for approval. We are social beings. We survived by forming bonds. That's why judgment hurts so deeply. But today the problem is different. We live exposed like display cases, and the more visible we become, the more opinions arise about how to dress, what to dream, what to say, how to live. Yet almost no one sees the effort, the exhaustion, everything you rise for each day trying to give your best. When your peace depends on others' approval, you become a prisoner of a tribunal that never sleeps, and the verdict changes depending on the mood of the one watching. Most people don't want to understand you, they want to categorize you. They're not analyzing you. They're projecting onto you what they haven't yet resolved within themselves. Think about this. In 150 years, no one will remember these opinions. Not you, not me, not the judgments that now seem so enormous. So why give your time, your soul, your joy to something that will vanish with the dust? Epictetus wrote, "If you want to be loved, love yourself." And this is one of the harshest lessons of Stoic philosophy. Others' approval is a bonus, not a purpose. From the moment you understand this, something changes. You stop asking permission to exist. You act with authenticity, not out of rebellion, but out of freedom. This doesn't mean ignoring the world. It means remembering you are not a puppet of others' expectations. Your life wasn't made to please crowds. It was made to be lived in peace with yourself. And every time someone judges you, remember, what that person sees in you is a reflection of what they haven't yet resolved within themselves. Don't take to heart what was born from another's confusion. Tonight, before you sleep, repeat silently, "I don't need everyone to love me. I only need to be faithful to who I am." And then breathe, because it is in that moment, when you stop seeking approval, that true freedom begins. Lesson 2. Choose to live what truly matters. When you begin paying more attention to what truly matters in your life, you notice something curious. The human brain is simultaneously your best protector and your worst saboteur. It helps you endure pain, but also makes you feel one of the worst pains of all, the pain of regret. The brain is incredibly adaptable, and that's what allows you to keep going, even on days when you think, "This is too much. I don't know if I can." Over time, you learn to face challenges, endure losses, adapt. But there's something almost no one taught you. The brain also becomes accustomed to what's essential. And so sometimes you stop noticing the value of what matters most. And one day, when those people, places, or moments are no longer here, you may feel the most cutting pain of all, the regret of having left it for later, the regret of not saying, "I love you," while there was still time, of not calling your parents, of not hugging that friend, of not showing gratitude when your heart begged for it. Our brain is wise, but it also deceives us. It grows accustomed to blessings, and what was once extraordinary begins to feel ordinary. The home you once dreamed of, the job you begged for, the person you longed to have by your side, all become routine when habit takes control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Value what you have while you have it, because one day you will long for what you now despise." This phrase should echo within us like a daily reminder, because time transforms everything we ignore into nostalgia. And the truth is simple: life doesn't hurt because it's short. It hurts when it's wasted on distractions. We worry about the opinions of strangers, about people who don't even appreciate us, and forget to care for those who truly love us. Without realizing it, we stop saying words that could heal, stop giving gestures that could warm, leave what's essential waiting until it's too late. So this truth is an invitation. Do what matters now. Pick up the phone. Send a message. Say what you feel. Hug those you love. Ask for forgiveness. Show affection. Because one day, what you don't say today may become what hurts you most tomorrow. The mind adapts quickly, but the heart doesn't forget what it never lived. Tonight before you sleep, choose to do what is essential. Close your eyes and repeat silently, "Today I choose to value what truly matters." Breathe deeply. Let the rush leave with the air. Remember, life rewards those who don't wait to love. Lesson 3. What you resist continues to hurt you. There are moments when life flips the board and changes all the pieces. You wake up believing you understand the game, and suddenly nothing makes sense. Plans collapse, people leave, certainties shatter, and in that instant, when everything seems to slip from your grasp, appears the choice that defines your destiny: to accept or to become bitter. What hurts is not what happens, but how hard you fight against what already is. Suffering is born of resistance, of that desperate attempt to make the past return or force the world to obey your wishes. But life doesn't negotiate with our wills. It simply continues, dragging along anyone who tries to stop its flow. Think of a stone thrown into a river. It doesn't complain about the current. It doesn't try to return to the shore. It sinks, it adjusts. And over time, the same current makes it smooth, serene, part of the landscape. So too is the soul that learns to accept. It doesn't harden, it molds. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept what fate brings you, because nothing comes that isn't destined for you." This phrase, spoken by an emperor, is not surrender, it's wisdom. It means understanding that life knows more than our ego can bear. There is an invisible intelligence in losses, pauses, and ruptures. What you call an end may simply be the way life says, "Not this way, go another path." But resentment is stubborn. It wants to keep the wound open, to replay the movie again and again. It wants to understand what has no explanation. And so it tires, because resentment is the useless attempt to correct the past with thought. And the past, like a river, has already flowed. Acceptance is not giving up. It's stopping the waste of energy trying to reverse the irreversible. It's letting go of what's gone, not out of weakness, but because holding on to what hurts no longer makes sense. When you accept, you don't lose anything. You gain peace. Acceptance is a silent agreement with the present, an intelligent surrender to what is greater than you. Think of how many times you turned a small inconvenience into a tragedy, a harsh word, a broken promise, a lost object. Yet the world kept turning. The pain didn't come from the event. It came from the meaning you gave it. The mind creates storms where there was only wind, and the heart, weary, calls that destiny. Seneca wrote, "It is not what happens to us that harms us, but what we think about what happens to us. Here lies freedom. In interpretation, you don't control events, but you control the story. And when you change the story, you change the emotion, you change your life." Tonight, look at what hurts you and say, "I don't need to understand, I only need to let go." Because some pains weren't made to be solved, they were made to awaken you. And when you accept that, the heart quiets, the weight dissolves, and the soul breathes again. Acceptance is an act of self-love. Resentment is an act of exhaustion. Choose what liberates, not what repeats, because life doesn't ask you to understand it, only to trust its flow. Lesson 4. Nothing that happens to you is in vain. There are pains that don't come to destroy you, they come to rebel you. Moments when the ground opens, the air disappears, and you feel that everything has ended. But when silence returns, something inside you remains standing. And in that instant, life shows you who you truly are. The strength that holds you up on your worst days doesn't come from outside. It comes from an ancient place that was always there, sleeping. Suffering is the alarm that wakes that strength. It doesn't arrive to punish you. It arrives to remind you of the power you forgot you had. Think of a situation that broke you. The loss, the failure, the fear, the rejection, all seemed like enemies. But today, looking back, you realize it was there in the chaos that the most lucid part of your soul was born. Pain refined you. Failure showed you what mattered. Loss taught you to rebuild. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And what lies within us only appears when life forces us to look inward." So what seems like an obstacle is in reality a portal. Difficulty is the path that leads to awareness. The Stoics understood that destiny is not the enemy. It is the trainer. It knocks you down not to humiliate you, but to teach you how to rise with technique, patience, and honor. How many times has something that seemed like an end become later a disguised beginning? How many times did life tear you from a comfortable place only to place you on the path you truly needed to walk? At first, everything seemed like loss, and then everything made sense. Nothing is wasted when you choose to learn. Even error, when understood, becomes wisdom. Even pain, when accepted, becomes strength. Even failure, when integrated, becomes momentum. The difference between who breaks and who transforms lies in one simple question. It's not, "Why did this happen to me?" It's, "What can I do with this?" The first question paralyzes, the second frees, because it shifts focus from the past to the present, from complaint to creation. And in that moment, power returns to your hands. Life doesn't ask you to flee pain, it asks you to use it. It wants you to extract wisdom from every blow, serenity from every fall, direction from every mistake. When you learn to fully use what happens to you, even loss serves you, even disappointment shapes you, even failure strengthens you. Tonight, before you sleep, close your eyes and think, what was life trying to teach me in the things I resisted the most? And then, thank it, even if you don't understand everything, because what seems like punishment is often the universe's way of polishing you. Use everything that happens to you. Nothing is wasted when the soul is awake. Lesson 5. Not everything you feel is real. The mind is an artist, and emotions are the paints with which it colors the world. On one day, everything seems extraordinary. The sky is bluer, life feels light, people are kind. The next day, the same landscapes seem dark, the same work feels heavy, even silence feels like a challenge. But the world didn't change, your gaze did. The problem is, we believe too much in what we feel, and when emotion shouts, reason falls silent. We think everything that comes from within is true, when in reality much of it is just a reflection of our inner state. The same event can seem like a miracle or a tragedy, depending on your mood at that moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Life is opinion." And this is one of the simplest and most difficult truths to live, because understanding that your emotions distort reality is a blow to the ego. You discover that you're not always seeing the world. Sometimes you're only seeing the mirror of your own mind. How many times have you said something in a moment of heat and later regretted it, or reacted to today's pain with yesterday's accumulated fury? Emotion is fast, impulsive. It wants to convince you that now is all that exists, but it lies. It amplifies illusions and makes you confuse impulse with truth. The Stoics said, "Never say or do anything that might pull you out of the game." The game here is life, and every time you act dominated by emotion, it's like scoring an own goal. Think of a couple arguing. Neither wants to lose, but both lose when anger takes the wheel. Love is still there, but covered by words that should never have been spoken. The same happens with friends, at work, even with your own mind. Emotions, when unchecked, become storms that erase what took you years to build. But there is a force that always defeats the storm: the pause. The pause is the moment you breathe before reacting. It's the space where emotion becomes feeling. Emotion is fire. Feeling is light. And this transformation happens when you observe what you feel without becoming what you feel. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to us, but how we react to it that hurts us." So the next time you feel anger, joy, fear, or euphoria, do the opposite of the impulse. Stop, breathe, observe, drink water, close your eyes for a few seconds, feel the ground under your feet. Small gestures that reconnect you with what is real, and what is real is always calmer than emotion. Tonight, as the world falls silent, remember, not everything you feel is true. Some emotions are just passing clouds, trying to appear as storms. Wait, breathe, and when the dust settles, you'll see the world is still there, the same, serene and intact. The difference? Now so are you. Lesson 6. The soul grows every time it learns. There is something more costly than any loss, any failure, any mistake, and that is ignorance. It charges invisible interest, and payment comes in the form of repetition. Because when you don't learn, life repeats the lesson. Only the setting changes, the faces, the details, but the story is always the same. Ignorance is not lack of education, it's lack of listening. It's closing yourself off to what life tries to teach, believing you already know enough, when in reality you're trapped in your own arrogance. And so many people age without ever maturing, collecting years but not wisdom. Seneca wrote, "As long as we live, we must learn to live." This phrase seems simple, but it's a blow of reality. Because learning to live isn't about accumulating information, it's about being transformed. It's admitting, "I don't know yet," and allowing the unknown to teach you with humility. Think for a moment. How many times has pain been your teacher? A betrayal that taught you to see love more clearly. A loss that showed you the value of what once seemed trivial. A mistake that forced you to grow faster than you wanted. Each wound left a hidden lesson, and that's what distinguishes those who evolve from those who repeat. The wise suffer once. The foolish suffer in loops. The difference between who you are today and who you could be lies in something very simple: what you still don't know. And what you still don't know may be exactly what you need to change everything. But the ignorant mind prefers the comfort of certainty to the pain of learning. It prefers being right to growing, and the price of that is stagnation. Epictetus said, "No man is free as long as he is a slave to his own opinions." True freedom begins when you make space for the new, for the uncomfortable, for the contradictory. When you understand that learning doesn't diminish you, it expands you. Look at the people you admire. None reached where they are by chance. All chose to learn, to fail, to start again, to listen, to unlearn, and to learn again. They discovered that knowledge isn't vanity, it's fuel. And whoever stops learning begins to fade. Nothing is more costly than living the same mistakes over and over. Nothing consumes more energy than fighting your own evolution. Ignorance is expensive because it collects in time. And time is the only currency you can't recover. Tonight, as silence wraps the world, remember, you can lose money and regain it. You can lose opportunities and create others. But if you lose the desire to learn, you lose yourself. So breathe, let pride go. Whisper softly, just for yourself, I choose to learn, even if it hurts, even if it challenges me, even if it dismantles everything I thought I knew. Because true wisdom begins in the moment you open yourself to it. Lesson 7. Your mind awakens. When you choose to act, most people believe they live only once, but the Stoics would say the opposite. You die once, but you live every day. And yet, how many of those days have you truly lived? How many were just repetition, routine, an automatic echo of yesterday? We live as passengers in our own story, looking out the window of life while time drives on autopilot. We say, someday I'll start, someday I'll change. But that day never comes, because resistance is cunning. It disguises itself as fatigue, doubt, security. It doesn't stop you from dreaming. It convinces you to put it off. And so many spend their entire lives on the edge of the path, waiting for courage, waiting for time, waiting to feel ready, without realizing that waiting is the trap. The Stoics call this resistance, the invisible force that appears every time we try to grow, change, or create something that matters. It whispers, not now, and you believe it. It says, it won't work, and you doubt. It promises comfort, but delivers stagnation. And before you notice, the soul is still, the heart sleeps, and time passes. Being comfortable is not the same as being at peace. Peace comes from progress, from movement, from commitment, not from paralysis disguised as stability. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle on the path becomes the path." And that is the essence of life. What seems like resistance is, in fact, the door to your evolution. Pain is not the enemy, it's the call. Fear is not a sign to stop. It's a reminder that you're on the edge of something greater. How many times have you said, I'll start on Monday, when I have time, when I feel ready? But the truth is, no one is ever ready. The perfect moment is always now. And tomorrow is the coward's hiding place. Resistance doesn't disappear, it surrenders to action. And every small step is a declaration of power. Making your bed, writing one line, facing a difficult conversation, taking the first step on that project you've postponed for years. These small victories are the soul's training. They are what sculpt the strength of those who choose to live consciously. Epictetus said, "No man is free unless he is master of himself." And that is exactly what it means to overcome resistance, to take back the wheel of your own life. You can remain a passenger of fear, or the driver of your courage. You can remain asleep, or awaken to the hour. Tonight, before you close your eyes, remember, you die only once, but you live every day. And life doesn't wait. It begins in the moment you choose to act, even with fear, even without certainty, but with your soul awake. Breathe deeply, feel the weight of inertia falling behind, and repeat silently, "Today I choose to act." because this is how transformation begins, inside, in silence, but with power. Lesson 8. Life becomes beautiful when you choose with your soul. Life doesn't change when you want it to, it changes when you choose. And you choose with an awake soul, because every choice is a mirror, and each reveals who you truly are. If your choices are small, your life will be small, not as punishment, but as reflection. Mediocrity isn't born from lack of money or recognition. It's born from lack of courage to live with truth. It's living while betraying your own conscience, in exchange for acceptance. We live in a world that applauds what shines, but ignores what is true, and so many triumph on the outside and collapse on the inside. They win the world's game, but lose the soul's game. And nothing is sadder than conquering everything and still feeling a void nothing can fill. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is good, do it. If it is just, hold firm." That is the definition of greatness the world forgot, to act with virtue. Not for applause, not for recognition, but because it is right. When you live this way, you don't need external validation. Your soul becomes your compass. And when you follow it, even when no one sees, you become unshakable. Tonight, as you rest, remember this: the most beautiful life is not the one filled with applause, but the one lived with quiet integrity. Choose with your soul, and let your life become a quiet masterpiece, not because it was seen, but because it was true.